being in the room with Slash and Duff and those guys, it was surreal.
Welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion. My name is Brando, episode number 506. My name is Brando. You hear the new 2-year-old in the background, Baby Brownstone, aka There Was a Toddler. Hopefully, he'll be more quiet. Mr. Austin John Winkler, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing, Brando?
I appreciate your time today, and I like to break the fourth wall a little bit before we get into the new album, the Founder and Walking Dead. I got to keep it real, so I appreciate you doing part two of this because
Yeah,
I've been, since my son Harrison, that's his real name. Some people think I actually named him Baby Brownstone. That's
that's a
just a
great
nick.
name, though.
It's a radio name, nickname. I'm not going to
Yeah,
name him after a heroin,
right,
after or after a brick house or whatever.
right.
So it's just a nickname, and I've been including him when I can into interviews. So for everyone to know, I was supposed to schedule with Austin, and he had a nap, and he had just woken up, like maybe 2 minutes before you signed on. And I had the milk ready. I had my younger brother ready with toys and the
Yeah.
TV. Didn't want any of that. Ran straight towards me. I can only imagine what was going through your mind when the camera turned on. Not only is there a baby, but he's screaming.
To be honest, man, I thought I was being punked for a second. It was pretty entertaining. It was entertaining nonetheless.
Well, that's a good answer. So I'm glad you actually came back and be like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, my listeners know. I mean, I work for iHeartRadio. This podcast is out of, my passion, but I've been working from home since
yeah,
the pandemic. But it's a
yeah.
nice segue into everything because I was excited to talk to you today because I've been a fan for quite some time and not just excited to talk about the new music, but I have a secondary theme to Guns N' Roses. It's mental health, it's
Oh,
addiction.
yeah.
This podcast came out of depression because I needed to find something to do.
Oh,
I was
excellent.
I wasn't being satisfied creatively in my life. So, flashback at the beginning of this, I'm single. I'm 9 years sober without alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Congrats,
you
man.
know,
That's great.
thank you. I'm married. Obviously, I have a 2-year-old. My life is completely different. So I was excited when I heard not only were you making new music, you were open to talking about your struggles, your paths, because I think
Yeah,
it's really important for people like you
absolutely, man.
to
I
share their journey.
in like 2 days, I'll be 6 years without any alcohol, which blows my fucking mind.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
It's hard. It really is hard, and something that I do talk about as well. And
Hmm.
it's because there's a stigma to it still, and that's
Yeah,
medical marijuana. And
yeah.
it's legal here in New York. I actually do have a medical license because I
I do too, buddy. I do too.
wanted to do it the right way because I've tried doing it without it, and it just affects my because I therapy. I'm on Cymbalta, but it's certain
Yeah,
thing with medical marijuana. So I'm like, this is my dude right now. I feel like I can really talk to Austin. So
dude, 100%, man. I lean on that, and with that whole thing, it's like I'm marijuana keeps me sober. As crazy as probably people think that sounds,
I
it's
know.
like it's completely different whenever you've been through it and you're actually really trying. Like you go into the store, like they made marijuana insanely like scary as a kid when I was growing up, you know what I mean? And the fact that I can go into a store and be like, man, you know what, I need to try a few things out, because marijuana was always like, I'm going to smoke and get fucking lifted, or it was always I'm going to smoke after I've already been partying for hours and hours and stuff like that. It was never used as a tool for me to lean on for anxiety or depression or pain or anything else. It's like, that's it's a blessing in my life, man.
And I will say, everything, just like whether it's food, anything, everything in moderation. I just want to make sure people understand that you can over
Oh,
just because it,
absolutely.
yeah. So I just want to make sure I get that in there because
Yeah, for sure.
oh,
Yeah.
you can overdo it just because it's legal.
Of
You can
course you
overdo
can.
it,
Of course you
but
can.
all this bleeds into the founder,
Mm.
Walking Dead, DED.
Yeah.
Uh, so how did this? rebirth kind of come from you? Because I actually got to see you with Hinder, I think
Mm.
your last year,
Oh wow.
2013.
Oh yeah, man. I was limping through that fucking tour for sure. Like I was really struggling with I was deep in my addiction for then for sure.
So you tell me this. I remember it was my one of my first Instagram posts because I was working at a Long Island radio station at the time. So I got to be side stage for you guys. I
Oh
forget.
nice.
It was somewhere on Long Island, maybe Patchogue Theater. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a Listerine bottle that said Hinder on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is that Listerine? Probably not, right?
Actually that probably was. That
Oh,
they always
really?
kept yeah, they've always kept that they always kept that side stage to kind of clean the mic in between what.
Oh, okay. It said Hinder on it. I was like, damn. I was like,
Well,
okay.
I mean, don't get confused. I've definitely drank my share of Listerine whenever the liquor stores weren't open yet. Like I've gone down that path.
Mm. So I guess maybe if what you're comfortable sharing as far as that path, because I've shared my story a little bit, and uh, I'll just briefly because I know my listeners know a little bit, but I have a physical disability, neurological, so it's affected my mental health. You know,
Yeah,
I've when I my 20s, I didn't want to be here.
yeah, man.
Oddly and sadly enough, my dad took his life about 11 years ago.
Oh
So
goodness.
I've been battling, and then again, here I am with a 2 year old
Mm,
and talking to Austin Winkler. You know, I've battled through, you know, through therapy and medication and finding the
mm.
right person. You know, my
Yeah.
wife. If I know it's a big story, but what can you tell us about that 2013
Mm.
in the really in the depths of your depression and your addiction to now and this rebirth with the founder?
Yeah, man. That's a long journey, man.
Right.
That's 10 years in the making. I mean, in 2013, I was so depressed on the road. I was unhappy with the music I was making. I was not fulfilled as an artist. I had death around me. I had like endless um, avenues for me to get all these drugs and all this, you know, stuff to cover up all my depression and stuff like that. So I dove into that for about 7 years. I feel like I just lost 7 fucking years of just like after I left the band, I was so depressed. I didn't know what to do with myself. I fell out of love with music. Was I experimented with like a kind of a pop record that I was, I was in no shape to be in the studio. I was in no shape to be touring, and I did a few of those while I was really, really struggling with addiction. And it got dark, man. It got really dark, and you know, people say like there's really not it doesn't really matter who you are. Addiction doesn't give a fuck who you are, man. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how what your status is. If it's going to take you out, it's going to take you out. And the only person, I'm sorry, but this is true. The only person that can dig yourself out of that is yourself. Like period.
I know.
Like you
I
can I went to like 7 different rehabs, and I was like each time I feel like I was doing it for somebody else. I was doing it for this, for to get better. And I didn't really want to stop drinking at all, ever. And, around 2019, I, uh, I was, I don't think I went outside for a month, and I felt like there was this blood rushing to my head or whatever. And I got to the point, man, to where all I needed, and this was just alcohol, all I needed was like a shot or two of alcohol just so I'd almost like stop convulsing
mm,
because my shakes were so bad. And then after the two shots, I would start hallucinating, like full blown hallucinations. Like I thought, and I've said this before, but I thought the cast of House of a Thousand Corpses was in this girl's closet.
wow,
And it fucking freaked me out. Like I still have video of my phone of me just recording nothing and freaking the fuck out.
wow.
Yeah, and what's even more bizarre is that I spent 3 months in the hospital after that. I had spent 24 of those days in ICU. And 2 months after that, after no alcohol, nothing, I'm still telling this story to my brother about the cast of House of a Thousand Corpses. That's how fucking gone I was
Wow.
because of alcohol and abuse for so many fucking years. And I was ended up on dialysis for 9 months. I did everything the doctors were supposed to tell me to do. And one day I showed up, and he's like, "We're gonna give you 2 weeks off dialysis and see how you do." And in that time, in that 2 weeks of me off in dialysis, I flew to the Nashville studio and I cut Super Jaded. And that's Super Jaded just kind of pulled me out of my deep rooted depression. Even 9 months after that, going through 9 months of dialysis is not something I wish on anybody. It is not a it is a very very lonely life. And Super Jaded just made me love music again. And then I kind of listened to that track after after I got it back, after I demoed it. And dude, vibrations heal, music fucking heals. Like, I remember listening to it and just like 2 a.m. just curling up, listening to it over and over, just crying and like feeling my bones and everything just kind of relax. And I don't know, it's crazy, but that's kind of a rough, a little rough estimate of. It was much darker than that, but that's a little rough estimate of what it
Well,
was like.
I appreciate you sharing what you have because yeah, it's a lot of times when I even share my story, I keep thinking about the darker stuff that happened. But I want to share because for a few reasons, and because this comes up because this is about we're here for you right now in this
Mm,
conversation. But for one, I think it's good for me to share my story with you, and that helps
for
you
sure.
share back. But I usually I always cite back my interview with Dave Navarro as in my own life too.
Mm,
Because he said to me, it's good that I share because I'm just a regular guy, and there's a lot of regular guys out there.
right.
But
Absolutely.
he said something that you said similar. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how famous you are.
Right.
It's depression doesn't judge. It just will
Mm,
go after everybody. So I'm really happy, with Super Jaded that came out what 2022
22. Yeah.
that came out. So I guess what can you talk about with the founder and Walking Dead and now with this EP and kind of is it a relaunch, a rebirth, or is it just the next chapter? Or is it do you want to label it as anything,
I
or is
mean,
it
it's kind of like my first real effort, I want to say, and putting a body of work out there, and it's homage to old school rock and roll. Like, it's not all the heavy shit that you hear on the radio. To me, I mean, there's a few bands that I love and that stand out, but to me, man, that shit is just getting ba 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 ba. It's all of that. I can't even tell what fucking notes they're playing, to be honest. And it's just it's all kind of sounding the same to me. And
Mhm.
I like the old shit. I mean, I like Aerosmith and I like the GNR, obviously. All those bands really inspired me, and so that's kind of what I wanted to lead with. And Walking Dead was the track that just kind of started that whole thing. And that song's as real as it gets, man. It's kind of an autobiographical journey of substances being introduced in my life and how I latched onto them to take me out of this world. And in a way that I still do, because this world's evil, man. It's not that's not nice. It's not nice to people who lead with their heart, and that's what I do. Sadly, like, that's just I'm an empath, so I just lead with my heart, and I want everybody to be happy. I'm a people pleaser to a fault, so
Mhm.
I get taken advantage of a
Yeah.
lot. And but anyways, that's a little off topic. And then I the second track was BTSD. And
Yeah, what does
B,
the B stand for there? I know
B,
what PTSD is.
yeah, BTSD stands for Born to Self-Destruct.
Mm.
And the lyric is, "I feel like I was born to self-destruct, but you can call it what you want." And that song, it is as true. All these songs are as true as it gets to my life and how I feel and how I look at the world. And I feel like for a long period uh, I feel like at least 15 years of my life, at least, I've done well for about 2 or 3 years, built something up, whether it be relationship or something in my career, and then something happens subconsciously. I'm not waking up going, how can I fuck up my life today? I don't do that. Like, but somehow it seems like it kept happening, and it seemed, and I was always kind of to blame for
Mm.
that. And that's kind of where BTSD, call it what you want, came from. And I can go track by track, but The Fall is kind of like my favorite one off this record. And
There's a video for that one that's out now that if
there
people
is,
haven't seen that. No,
yeah,
I do like it. It is the old school. What I've noticed about the singles that are out now, what is it, The Fall and Walking Dead, is that it's not those heavy guitars that are in your face that you can't discern. It's really focused on your voice,
yeah.
and in the music is kind of just accompanying it, which is kind of what you want. And I gotta tell you, you sound exactly the same.
Wow,
I'm
thank you,
like,
man.
I'm like, whoa, this guy's voice has not aged at
Oh,
all. So,
thank you.
is there something that you train your voice? Is that something that you've always maybe taken care of it, or you're just naturally
Man,
gifted?
I'll tell you what, whenever we first started touring and Extreme Behavior was fucking taking off, man, I struggled. And early on, I got a vocal coach, and his name was Ron Anderson. He's since left this world. Amazing, amazing coach. I could call him and just talk to him, and he could tell me what was wrong with my voice just by you and I having this conversation right now. He
Mm.
could be like, "Oh, this is tired, or this is stressed, or this is what you need to do." So I learned very early on to warm up before any show, and I did it religiously. So I don't know if that plays into it. I like to think so, to where I didn't at least completely burn out my voice on the road. So I tried to take care of it the best I could. But obviously, popping 180 Vicodin a week doesn't fucking help your voice out, and neither does constantly drinking alcohol.
It takes a lot of confidence to talk about this stuff because it's something it took me a while because I feel like there's shame that goes in
Mhm.
it when I did this, I did that. Because they're back in the day in the 80s, it used to be cool to do all these drugs and
Right.
now it's not. And now, is there any sort of like I don't want to call it's not shame. It's something it's kind of I now because I've gone through it. It's almost like a badge of honor. Like I've fought through this.
Absolutely.
But is there any sort of part like you want to hold back a little bit and not share everything, or is it just, or do you put that all out through the music? I guess how open do you want to be? And I appreciate how open you've been. So I'm just curious, how
You know,
open do
I
you want to be?
I've never really been somebody that like hides who they are. I think, with Extreme Behavior and even that, like us, trying to bring the party back into rock and roll, like that was who I was at the time. That 100%. I was 23 years old with a record deal. Like I was raging, like, and that's who I was. And I feel like that's, you know, who I've always been. Like, and I felt like to Extreme Behavior was its own thing, and I felt like my artistic uh, cup or whatever wasn't being filled because I felt like I was just putting out the same record over and over again in that band, and that tore me up inside. And I think it's important, and I do. Especially with the founder stuff, I didn't really hold anything back, as far as things I struggled with, and what I believe in and stuff like that. So I think it's important for me to share and be as transparent as possible, because secrets and stuff like that can definitely creep in and keeps me sick.
Yeah, no, the same way. Sometimes I guess I say too much, but I'm like, that's just me. I got
Yeah,
to be honest and I got to share. And, hopefully it doesn't offend anybody. I always come from a good place, when I share
right.
my feelings.
Yeah.
To talk about just Hinder a little bit because you're only like a couple years older than me, like a year. I'm gonna be 42 later this year.
Oh, dude, I'm 43, so yeah, I'm a
So
year old.
there you go. So I was starting my on-air career. So I was up in
Oh,
Cape Cod.
excellent.
I was up in Cape Cod when Lips of an Angel
Mm,
broke and Get Stoned and all
hmm.
that. I'll never forget. I was dating a Canadian at the time. I know that's usually like a fake story. Oh, I had a Canadian girlfriend. No, I did. She hated that song just because of the lyrics, because she's like, it's
Which
about
one?
cheating. My Lips of an Angel.
Oh yeah, yeah. To
Yeah.
the, I mean, to the untrained eye, yeah. So the first listen, you could be like, well, this, actually, so, I think it was, I was watching Much Music. We're in Toronto one day, and this VJ or DJ or what, somebody gets on there and was like, "Lips of an Angel sounds like it's being sung by the lips of an asshole." Oh man, I gotta give that guy credit, man. That's so funny. I know I laughed pretty hard at that. But that's a to me, I mean, I wrote it. I know what color the girl's eyes are. Like that was a person and it was love. It had nothing to do with cheating. That's a love song, man.
Okay. Okay. How do you? Because again, with the lyrics, the way it sounded, but it just always made me laugh. I'm like, it's a great song. I'm like, I like this band, But
Yeah.
as you said, it's like a lot of bands now. It's kind of like the same thing again and again. So that's why I'm excited about this new music. But if I can ask, I mean, do you have friendships in that band still? Is that something? Is it all in the rearview mirror? Is it just looking forward with the founder?
I talked to Mark quite a bit. He's actually not in the band anymore. We still talk quite a bit, and I speak to Cody here and there, but they have no interest right now in any kind of reconciliation or reunion or anything like that. Because I mean, I've asked. Trust me, those songs mean a lot to me, man. Like I've it's 20 years this year, and I asked them about a 20-year reunion, and they said they weren't interested, and that's fine, man. It's not gonna be cool unless they're interested. So.
Yeah, with as a Guns N' Roses fan, I have to deal with that all the time. That's a shame. I mean, 20 years, and yeah, you should be proud of the songs, and especially like you might say if you were in the same place that you were 6 years ago, perhaps you may understand that. But if you're in the good
Mhm.
place you are now, I don't know. Well, we'll see. But that doesn't. That's not the priority here. The priority is the
Right,
founder anyway.
right,
Where
absolutely.
where does that name come from? The founder.
Well, I mean, I wanted to. I didn't like whenever I put out like Super Jaded and American Dreams and those songs and stuff like that. I put it out under my full name, and I've never really liked that. I've always wanted to have like some kind of mystery or some kind of name, and
Hmm.
instead of my name. And the founder just I wanted to kind of set the tone of like it's my creative sanctuary and nobody else's, and I'm always going to have all of the say in it, and nobody's going to be allowed to take these songs and sing them as
Hmm.
their own.
Right on. Now you're the founder of it. Yeah, own it. Especially
Right.
starting with the name.
Yeah.
Do you plan the tour with this? Is there a band that comes along with the founder?
Yeah, I mean, the band will probably always kind of fluctuate, but one thing will remain is that it'll always be my voice and it'll always be my stories and my POV. And booking shows as we speak. So I will be out. I won't say yet, but I'll be out very soon.
Right on. So that this way, it'll be okay if my son talks. I gotta take him to his first rock show. He's
Oh
been
yeah,
he's been to like a Beatles tribute. Dave Matthews. My wife is obsessed. And it was soft. I mean, he has the
yeah,
headphones too, soft. But I got to
yeah.
take him to his first rock show. So I don't know.
Bring it on.
And so I guess because you with the going off with the founder thing to circle back, 'cause it sticks with my head. I short my name to Brando from Brandon. I didn't want to
Mhm.
go Brandon Neil Weissler. It's three names. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Austin John Winkler. This is
yeah.
when I don't know.
It's my serial killer name. I like it. I mean, it's
My
cool.
serial. I was gonna ask about the three names 'cause you never know, but I like that serial killer reference. Man,
Yeah.
you have through some of this bad stuff. I mean, you have got some good music video ideas, like the House of a Thousand Corpses one. I mean, you can make that a video if you want to do Rob
Hey man,
Zombie.
I'll give old Rob a call and see what he thinks.
Oh man, well, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to with you, but I gotta ask, of course, because you're on appetite for distortion with
Mm,
Guns N' Roses themed. Have you ever seen the band back in the day? Have you ever
mm.
met any of the guys? I do what it's called the 6 degrees of GNR Bacon. So whether it's you've met them, a fan, a
Man,
song you covered back in the day, any connection you may have.
obviously fan, man. Huge fan. I used to wait till my mom left the house so I could turn on MTV and just watch Guns N' Roses videos, man. Like I absolutely loved them, and we had the privilege of opening up for GNR, not when they were reunited, but whenever Axl was at the helm, and
Oh,
that was fucking great. Obviously,
what year was that? I forgot that happened.
that was 2000. I'm gonna say 10 or 11. We played.
Okay.
I think we played one, maybe two shows with them. I can't remember. And then, as far as meeting the guys or the other guys, not a lot of people know this, but um, back in 2014, after I had left Hinder and just kind of fresh out of rehab, I went and auditioned for Velvet Revolver.
Mm,
So being in the room with Slash and Duff and those guys, it was surreal. It was fucking unbelievable. And you know, uh, I sang three songs. We just rehearsed three songs, and I wasn't, to be honest, I was obviously into it and fucking floored that I was in this tiny fucking uh, rehearsal space in the valley. Like my mind was blown kind of the whole time, and nothing ever really came of it. And I don't know that I put my whole heart into it because as much as I love Velvet Revolver and respect all of those guys, I don't think I would have been happy. I don't think I would have been, my artistic self would have been kind of back into maybe something that wasn't fulfilling for me. So nothing ever came of that, but that is my Guns N' Roses stories here and there.
awesome. See, that's what I do. I like to overturn these rocks and define because there are names that tried out for Velvet Revolver that you
Yeah.
didn't know about, and the fact that you did, and I'm a fan of your voice, so now I get to just imagine that.
Yeah.
It obviously didn't work out, but I think that you are right that your creativity would have been hindered. I don't mean the pun intended, I guess,
Right. Right.
because it would have been Slash and Duff's band, and now, I mean, with the founder, you could do whatever you want. I mean, I know
Right.
it took a long time to get there, but I'm
Right.
telling you, as somebody who's basically your age, and it took a long time to get where I want to be,
Mhm.
I don't know. We're here. We're here.
Yeah,
So
man. The other side.
this has been an honor to get to talk to you,
Yeah. Thank you,
Austin.
brother.
I hope we get to do this again.
Let's do
And
it.
yeah, so this is I'm just so excited to talk to you. But I want to wrap up just by saying this because Guns N' Roses kicked off their tour
Yeah.
in Korea. New drummer Isaac Carpenter is getting rave reviews. He's already showing off his abs. I have the same abs, but I don't want to show off. I don't want to show off.
Yeah.
So I just want to put it out there because in addition to talking to cool people like you and rock stars like you, Austin, I like to interview fans. So if you're
Cool.
a GNR fan in Korea or any of the places that they're going into in the Mid East or Europe this summer, you want to come on the show, you want to do a review on Appetite for Distortion, just hit me up. That's
Mm.
simple. So that does it for this episode of Appetite for Distortion. When will you see the next one? In the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy, I don't know if soon is the word, but you'll see it.